video where we go over our picks from last week and make picks for the next week. So let's just get right into it. As you can see, I went 11-5 this week, and we're 500 on the season. Even though it didn't count my first week, I picked Seattle over Arizona on Thursday night, and we was correct. Sam Darnold was 18 of 26 for 242 yards and a touchdown. Kenny Walker III had 19 carries for 81 yards, and Jackson Smith Najigba had 4 catches for 79 yards. Seattle fumbled twice. Kyler Murray was 27 of 41 for 200 yards. 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. He was sacked 6 times. Wow. He was also their leading rusher for 41 carries, or 41 yards on 5 carries. Marvin Harrison Jr. had 6 catches for 66 yards and a touchdown. No fumbles. Minnesota at Pittsburgh, even though I think this one was in Dublin. And we got it wrong. Pittsburgh 24-21. Carson Wentz was 30 of 46 for 350 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. He was sacked 6 times for 48 yards. Jordan Mason had 16 carries for 57 yards. Justin Jefferson had 10 catches for 126 yards, no touchdowns. 2 fumbles as a team. Rodgers was 18 of 22 for 200 yards and a touchdown, sacked twice for 18 yards. Kenneth Gainwell had 19 carries for 99 yards and 2 touchdowns. Metcalf had 5 catches for 126 yards and a touchdown. They fumbled once as a team. Panthers at the Patriots. We chose the Patriots, and they put a hurting on that team. Bryce Young was 18 of 30 for 150 yards and a touchdown. Andy Dalton was 5 of 6 for 58 yards and a touchdown. Chuba Hubbard had 10 carries for 49 yards. Tate McMillan had 4 catches for 62 yards. They fumbled once as a team. Drake May was 14 of 17 for 203 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ramondre Stevenson had 9 carries for 38 yards. Stephon Diggs had 6 catches for 101 yards. No fumbles. Cleveland at Detroit. Obviously, I picked my hometown Lions, and we were correct. Joe Flacco was 16 of 34 for 184 yards and 2 picks. Quinshon Judkins had 21 carries for 82 yards and a touchdown. Isaiah Bond had 3 catches for 58 yards. They fumbled twice as a team. Jared Goff was 16 of 27 for 168, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Jahmyr Gibbs had 15 carries on 91 yards. 15 carries for 91 yards and a touchdown. Amon-Ra had 7 catches for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. No fumbles as a team, but we recovered one. The Chargers at the Giants, probably the upset of the week, with New York beating the Chargers. Herbert was 23 of 41 for 203 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. Omarion Hampton had 12 carries for 128 yards and a touchdown. Quentin Johnston had 8 catches for 98 yards and a touchdown. No fumbles. Jackson Dart got his very first start, and he was 13 of 20 for 111 yards and a touchdown. He was sacked 5 times. Cam Scatabo had 25 carries for 79 yards. And Darius Slayton had 3 catches for 44 yards. They fumbled twice as a team. The Saints at the Bills. I chose Buffalo. I figured it'd be a blowout. It probably was. I don't know. The score is a lot closer than it looks. Jalen Hurts didn't pass it once in the second half, which is insane. He was 15 of 24 for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he was the leading rusher for 62 yards on 9 carries. Dallas Goedert had 4 catches for 37 yards and 2 touchdowns. Fumbled twice as a team. Tampa fumbled twice as a team as well. Their leading receiver was Bucky Irving for 5 catches for 102 yards and a touchdown. Bucky was also their leading rusher, had 63 yards on 15 carries. Baker was 22 of 40 for 289 for 2 touchdowns and a pick. Tennessee at Houston. For a while, I wasn't watching this game, I was just watching the score. And it was 6-0 for a while. And then it seemed like the floodgates opened. And Houston finally got their win. Which is good for them and me because I picked him. Cam Ward is having a bad season. But a lot of that might be their team. He was 10 of 26 for 108 yards and an interception. Tony Pollard had 14 carries for 64 yards and no touchdown. Elick Ayo Manor had 2 catches for 44 yards. No fumbles. Houston also had 0 fumbles. Stroud was 22 of 28 for 233 and 2 touchdowns. Woody Marks had 17 carries for 69 yards and a touchdown. And Nico Collins had 4 catches for 79 yards. No fumbles. Washington at Atlanta. I picked Atlanta even though deep down I thought Washington would win because I thought Daniels would be playing. And I was right. I should have just went with, I'm glad I didn't trust my gut on that one. Unless my gut was telling me Atlanta. I don't know. That was a while ago. Marcus Mariota was 16 of 27 for 156, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Chris Rodriguez Jr. had 7 carries for 59 yards. And Debo had 6 catches for 72 yards and a touchdown. They fumbled 4 times as a team. Michael Penix was 20 of 26 for 313 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Bijan Robinson had 17 carries for 75 yards and a touchdown. Drake London had 8 catches for 110 yards and a touchdown. And they fumbled twice as a team. The Colts at the Rams. What a good game that was. I thought the Colts would ride Colts momentum for being 3-0 would carry them to a victory, but we chose wrong, and it was still a good game regardless. Daniel Jones was 24 of 33 for 262 for a touchdown and 2 picks. Jonathan Taylor had 17 carries for 76 yards, no touchdown. Adonai Mitchell had 3 catches for 96 yards. They fumbled twice as a team. Stafford was 29 of 41 for 375, 3 touchdowns. Kyron Williams had 13 carries for 77 yards. And Puka Nacua had 13 catches for 170 yards and a touchdown. Fumbled once as a team. Jacksonville at San Francisco. I figured all of San Francisco's injuries would catch up to them. And they did. Jacksonville takes the win, who we chose. Trevor Lawrence was 21 of 31 for 174 yards and a touchdown. Travis Etienne Jr. had 19 carries for 124 yards and a touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr. had 5 catches for 49 yards. They fumbled once as a team. Brock Purdy was 22 of 38 for 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Christian McCaffrey had 17 carries on 49 yards. And he was their After the beatdown Detroit put on Baltimore, I figured this was their get right game and they would take it out on Kansas City, but Kansas City is starting to look like their old self, which I personally don't like because that's all you see on these sports shows is them sucking off Kansas City. Anyway, Lamar Jackson, who I guess got hurt during this game, was 14 of 20 for 147 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Justice Hill had 3 carries for 76 yards and a touchdown. Zay Flowers had 7 catches for 74 yards. The team fumbled once. Mahomes was 25 of 37 for 270 yards and 4 touchdowns. Xavier Worthy had 2 carries for 38 yards. And he was their leading receiver. He had 5 catches for 83 yards. No fumbles as a team, but they recovered one. The Bears at the Raiders. I chose the Bears. Figured this would be an evenly matched game from both sides. Chicago takes the win, I believe, on a blocked field goal. Caleb was 22 of 37 for 212 yards, a touchdown and a pick. DeAndre Swift had 14 carries for 38 yards and a touchdown. Rome Odunze had 4 catches for 69 yards and a touchdown. They fumbled twice as a team. Geno Smith is not looking good in Las Vegas, but he was 14 of 21 for 117 yards, 2 touchdowns and 3 picks. Ashton Genty had 21 carries for 138 yards and a touchdown. Brock Bowers, the stud he is, had 5 catches for 46 yards, 1 fumble as a team. Now, probably the game that everybody in the world was hate watching. I know I was. I hate both teams, but I thought Green Bay would pull it out. It turns out I was right and wrong because it ended in our very first tie of the season. It was a little boring there for a second. And then it got flipped on its head and it got interesting. Jordan Love was 31 of 43 for 337 yards and 3 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs had 22 carries for 86 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's also their leading receiver with 4 catches for 71 yards. Jordan Love fumbled 1 time. Dak Prescott was 31 of 40 for 319 yards and 3 touchdowns. Javonte Williams had 20 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown. George Pickens had 8 catches for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. James Houston recovered the fumble of Jordan Love. I'm rooting for Aaron Glenn to finally get his first win, and I thought he would do it against Miami, but he did not. Miami takes this one. And Tyreek left with a nasty injury, and he will be out the rest of the season. Justin Fields was 20 of 27 for 226 yards and a touchdown. He was also their leading rusher on 7 carries for 81 yards and a touchdown. Garrett Wilson had 6 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown. They fumbled 3 times as a team, lost all 3. Tua was 17 of 25 for 177 and 2 touchdowns. Devon Achane had 20 carries for 99 yards and a touchdown. Tyreek had 6 catches for 67 yards. They fumbled twice as a team, recovered their 2 and the other team's 3. Cincinnati at Denver, chose Denver because without 5 for 125 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Chase Brown had 10 carries for 40 yards. T. Higgins had 3 catches for 32 yards. Wow, looking at these yards, yeah, this was pretty bad. And they put him on prime time. Well, obviously they didn't expect Joe Burrow to be down. But anyway, no fumbles for either team. Bo Nix was 29 of 42 for 326 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. J.K. Dobbins had 16 carries for 101 yards. Cortland Sutton had 5 catches for 81 yards and a touchdown. Okay, that was our week 4 review. Now, let's make our week 5 picks. And I apologize if you can hear my cat eating in the background. The Niners at the Rams. With all their injuries, I think Stafford dices them up and takes the win. Minnesota at Cleveland. I believe this one is in London. A good defense versus the NFL's number 1 defense. I think Cleveland wins this one. I don't know why. I just think they do it. Dallas at the Jets. No, I want Glenn to get his first win so bad. But I don't know if he does it. But then again, Dallas's defense is pretty bad. So I'll take the Jets with the upset. Denver at Philly. That should be a good game. But I think Philly takes this one. I think they're the only undefeated team left, right? Yeah. No, it's Buffalo. Houston at Baltimore. Now Lamar, I believe, is hurt. I don't know for how long. 1 to 3 weeks, if I remember correctly. Against Houston. Now Houston has a solid defense, but they've looked pretty rough. I'm gonna go with Baltimore. The Raiders at the Colts. I think Daniel Jones gets back on track after that tough loss last week. Miami at Carolina. What a slugfest it's gonna be for these two. I'm gonna take the Dolphins. Sure, they don't have Tyreek, but they still have Jalen Waddle. The Giants at the Saints. No Malik Neighbors, he tore his ACL, which is terrible. Jackson Dart. Let's get crazy. Let's say the Saints beat the Giants. Tampa at Seattle. That should be a fun one. Baker versus Sam Darnold. I don't know Tampa's injury list right now, but I'm going to take Tampa. Tennessee at Arizona. If Arizona starts off slow in the first half like they've been doing, Tennessee has a chance. But I don't think they do that. I think Arizona takes it. Washington at the Chargers. Chargers have a good defense. I don't know if Jaden Daniels is back, so I'm going to go with the Chargers. Detroit at Cincinnati. They look abysmal. No Joe Burrow, no problem. Detroit by 20. New England at Buffalo. This could be a trap game in its division. Division games are always fun. But I'm going to take Buffalo. Sunday night. Monday night we have Kansas City and Jacksonville. I do not know why. But I think, oh man, maybe Jacksonville's that good. Who knows? But I'm going to go with Kansas City. That's going to do it for our week 4 review and our week 5 picks. I think bye week started this week, and the Falcons, the Bears, the Packers, and the Steelers are all on a bye. So there's that. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Hope you you got some well needed rest and relaxation, and you aren't distracted by the sound of my cat eating in the background. He a very loud cruncher, holy cow. But anyway, hope you got some rest and relaxation, and I will see you